Ha! It didn't. You didn't. You didn't pick up.
What?
I said it didn't pick up. You're good. Oh, hello, YouTube land. We are live.
I know because my phone just told me we're live. I should
Oh,
put
did
that
it?
on,
That's cool.
put that on mute. It always does. I think it's so weird that like beep, we're live. Yes, I know. I'm on it.
April Fools. No. All right, here we go. Hello and welcome to Handgun Radio. I'm your host, Ryan Machad from the wild woods of central Maine, and this is your home for all the news, information, and discussion in the handgunning world. This week, we talk about some Eastern Bloc handguns. So as always, Handgun Radio is brought to you by the Firearms Radio Network. Please check out the Patriot Patch Company for their awesome patches and other high-quality items. Visit patriotpatch.co for more information. And as always, shop Amazon using our affiliate link, firearmsradio.tv/Amazon. And please help support Handgun Radio. Head over to firearmsradio.tv/pledge and click on HGR. There are a bunch of different pledge levels, and we really appreciate it. So, Weird, how's it going?
I've been better. The plague is sweeping through our house.
Oh,
My
no.
daughter is sick. My wife is not sure if she's coming down with something. I hope that the feeling that I've got right now is just too much rich food for Easter dinner. But so we'll see if it moves on. But yeah, it's been a rough weekend.
How is the podcast going?
We have 2 episodes recording, and we also have a website, and I've got the Libsyn account. So for those who are listening to us live, I mean, how many people are listening live? I can't see the stats.
None right now.
None. All right. So none of you people who are hearing me. But if you're listening to this on YouTube, then we're probably soon we'll be having the first episode up. Hopefully by the time this is posted on the FRN, it'll already be published. So we're just hammering out the last few little details, and then stuff is going to start going up.
Nice. Yeah, I've listened to the first episode. It is fantastic. I think everybody will really enjoy it.
Well, I wouldn't go so far as saying fantastic. The second episode is considerably better than the first one. The first one's got some rough problems.
Well, in my case, I have not done much. Next weekend, I will be going out to the range, hopefully. So that should be fun. Weird. Have you gone to the range at all lately?
I have not.
Yeah, the snow has kind of put a damper on it, but these past few weeks of warm weather we've had, well, warm for Maine. I mean, to me, t-shirt weather, it's like, oh, it's 39. It's t-shirt weather. Awesome.
I stepped outside to throw out some trash like first thing this morning. The sun had just coming up, and I'm like, oh man, it is balmy out. It was 48 degrees. But jeez, it felt nice.
So I'm gonna probably have some videos or something next week. Hopefully, I have a case of 9mm ammo that I bought a few months back that I need to put to good use. So. But I did see a cool photo / article on the firearms blog regarding suppressed pocket pistols, and it made me want to suppress my little Ply 22 Taurus. Have you ever thought about suppressing your little tip-up barrel?
Oh, I actually shot one at a blog shoot ages ago, and well, they're a little bit obnoxious when they're suppressed because they're quiet, but boy, since those are direct blowback, you get a lot of gas in your face. But
a lot of port blast.
Yeah, but but let me tell you, it's little teeny tiny guns are. I mean, number one, little teeny tiny guns are insanely loud. Like that was. I don't know if I've told this story before, but my very first time shooting, I started out shooting. It was some sort of 22 semi-auto was the first firearm I ever shot. I was over at my buddy's place up in central Maine, and I believe it was a Remington nylon, and I was shooting that gun, and I'm just like sitting there with the earmuffs on, and I'm like, geez, I'm not like hearing hardly anything at all when I'm pulling the trigger on this gun. So I kind of slid the earmuff a little bit off of one ear and realized that, oh yeah, this isn't really making much noise at all. So finally I just had the earmuffs around my neck. Because we were all shooting 22 carbines. And it was, wasn't making much noise. And I'm like, oh, this is much nicer. And then my buddy pulled out a little, I want to say it was an H&R, but it was a little teeny tiny 6-shot 22 revolver, double action, but with you had to pull this, you unscrewed the center pin and pulled out the cylinder and loaded it that way. And I believe it was an H&R, but it was one of those like inexpensive, nice, but kind of cool. I wish people would make more like small revolvers, something in between the size of like an NAA, which is just an awesomely small gun, but kind of almost impractically small, and the J frames that everybody makes. But yeah, put these same little 22 cartridges we were shooting this whole time. And so I just assumed, oh, it's not going to make any noise. And boom! And I went, hold on. He goes, oh, I didn't know you weren't ready. And I said, no, I thought I was ready.
I've always loved the concept of that. What was it, the Gemtech pill bottle suppressor?
Mm-hmm.
That little tiny thing. Obviously it's not going to be as suppressed as like a full size rimfire suppressor, but it sure is cool.
But plus, we're both James Bond fans, and the idea of a little teeny tiny concealable pistol, but that also has a suppressor on it, is just a cool idea. A modern version of the well rod, if you will.
Another cool article I saw on TFP was TJ actually sent me the link, and he was just like, "Oh my god, look at this!" Apparently, Tromix made I know this isn't handgun radio, but made a 410, took a 410 shotgun, a 410 Saiga shotgun, and converted it to 444 Marlin with a drum mag.
That's pretty cool. I mean, I won't lie. I'm just like, oh, why wouldn't you just get like an AR-15 and like, 450 SOCOM or 450 Bushmaster? Was it 450 SOCOM? What's the SOCOM one?
Yeah, I think so. But this was back in the day. I mean, this wasn't something they're doing right now.
That's an older gun. Okay.
Yeah, this was they did a Throwback Thursday post on their Facebook page.
Oh,
they've been showing all these guns that almost made it to production, but for one reason or another didn't. And that was one of them.
Okay, never mind. That is absolutely brilliant. Then I didn't realize that was so that was what, the 80s.
I don't know when. I don't know when it
around.
Was. I mean, I'm sure it probably says in the link. It was quite a while ago, from what I understand.
Toxic Avenger was the first film they did, right?
Back in 2007.
Oh, come on. You're just not going to balk at that Tromex Troma joke? That's good. Oh, that was good. Come on. Somebody laughed at that one.
Yeah, it says they were experimenting with it back in 2007.
Oh, okay. So not that long ago, but so I think actually it's some of those big bore AR cartridges were around.
They were around. I don't think they had taken the prominence that they have today.
Yeah, but that being said, and someone's yelling at their earbuds right now, is yes, I think 444 Marlin is like beyond all of those rounds, because I think the 45 caliber AR cartridges are all more or less within striking distance of the 4570, and 444 is like beyond that, well beyond that.
The 270 grain bullet at 2250 feet per second for 3,034 foot-pounds of muzzle energy.
It's a stump puller.
And then our friend Daniel Waters, I was reading the comments, and he was writing in the comments, responding to somebody, and he goes, "I'm still trying to remember who was attempting to convert a Vickers machine gun from 303 British to 458 Winchester Magnum. They were going to recycle the cloth belts that had become too stretched to reliably hold the 303 cartridge."
Oh man.
Now I would like to see that. I'd like to see who could afford to shoot that.
458 SOCOM, 450 Bushmaster, 458 SOCOM.
Yeah, this is 458 Winchester Magnum.
Oh, yeah, I was searching it because I wanted to get some load data because I'm not super familiar with 458 Win Mag. Yeah, let's see. Oh, there we go. 300 grain bullet at 2,600 feet per second. 500 grain bullet, 500 grain bullet at 2,200 feet per second.
In a belt-fed machine gun.
In a belt-fed machine gun. just in case you couldn't afford a gun that shoots F-250s.
Oh my God. Oh man. Yeah, and then there was one more article, and I was kind of interested. I see it. It's the Czech Striker SR-17 semi-automatic pistol. See this thing?
Yeah, it's
The renderings of it look like a really, really bad CAD design student got a hold of some
oh
stuff and
oh
wanted to
yeah.
make a gun, but the concept is actually a little
It
interesting.
actually, yeah, the CAD mock-ups definitely look like look like you're playing like GoldenEye 64 and you picked up the gun and you decided to look at it in the inventory screen. But yeah, it's gosh, it's weird. I mean, first up, it's got a trigger that's like straight off of a para ordnance LDA. Those LDAs had that like trigger that was practically just a bent piece of sheet metal.
Yeah, it's and again, this is probably a prototype.
Yeah.
I mean, the slide looks like it's in the white.
Yeah, I don't know how those supposedly those are decockers up on the back of the slide. It looks like it's got like those what are the power rackers? What do they call those things that they put on the race
Oh, the
guns?
tack rack or something
Yeah.
like.
Yeah. It looks like it's got like a tack rack to it, but it does. It's got a grip safety, cool. It's got a magazine disconnect, boo. Um I can't really tell about the action. It looks vaguely like a Browning linkless, but a little bit weird. I guess the camming system looks like it's backwards.
Yeah, I don't understand that, but the cool part is I guess you have like a bolt face or something that you can change out. It's designed it has a separate bolt inserted into the slide.
Interesting.
So by changing the bolt, the barrel, and using a proper mag, the user can convert the pistol to fire one of the following cartridges: 9mm Luger, 7.62 with a 2.5 Tokarev, 40, 357 SIG, 10mm, or 45 auto. That's got to be a beefy frame to be able to handle all those various different
Well,
pressures and forces generated by all those different cartridges.
and a super long stroke if you could be shooting 9mm and either 7.62 Tokarev or 10mm auto, which are both very or 45 ACP, which are all very long rounds.
And probably a decently blocky grip because it has to be at least as large as the biggest cartridge it can potentially handle.
So it'll be like the magazines will probably be like a 9mm 1911 magazine where it's got the little crimp in the front of it so that the
Right.
rounds stay back. Yeah,
I'm curious to see if we hear any more about this.
yeah, just a weird. I mean, just everything about it. Just when you start looking at the details, it's just weird. On the like, what the hell is the nonsense on the front of it? Like, it looks like a tactical rail, but I don't know how you would make that work. I guess it is a tactical rail, but it's odd. Um, you've got the hammer. Just looks. I just let me look at the. I
It looks
I
like
don't even know if there's a hammer on the prototype. I can't see the hammer, but the hammer just looks like it wouldn't have enough mass to do what it needs to do.
reminds me of the hammer that's on the Chiappa Rhino where it just does like it's just like a placeholder
Oh well,
sort of thing.
the handle on the Chiappas that is a cocking actuator.
Right. The quote
It's
unquote hammer.
yeah, it's just a cocking lever, so it doesn't do anything while you're shooting the gun. But if you bring it back, you'll cock the hammer, and then you can pull it, and then it'll slap forward, and the hammer will be cocked, and the little whack-a-mole will pop up. But then you can bring it back again, pull the trigger, and then the hammer will ride up against the actuator, and then you can slowly lower it down as if it was an actual hammer. But yeah, it almost looks like I shot a 100 years ago. Somebody brought to a big it was a Northeast shooters shoot, and somebody brought like a bunch of SVI pistols, and I don't even know how they got them into Massachusetts, but these guns had like the like most like abbreviated like hammers on earth because they wanted the hammer velocity to be as high as possible to increase lock time. And so it just reminds me of that. It's just the more I look at it, the more of a weird looking gun it is. If it works, cool, but I don't know.
So, what is your drink segment this week?
So just something I don't know why there's friggin' still snow on the ground. I don't know why I'm drinking a tiki drink, but a long ages ago I made a blue mai tai, and for those who aren't familiar with the drink, it's essentially like the drink that started the tiki drink craze. And there's a huge discussion whether it was Don the Beachcomber or Trader Vic that invented this drink or stole it from somebody else. Who knows what the story behind it is? But there's a million and one different recipes for it. You know, the most common is using orgeat and and orange orgeat and orange curacao and white rum, or a mixture of different kinds of rums. But this one, I kind of just happened into sideways and found out that I was making a mai tai. I was just experimenting with kind of a tiki style drink, and I was using white rum, lime juice, blue curacao, and amaretto. And I got it and it worked and it tasted great. And then like a year, then winter came and I didn't want to drink any more tiki drinks. And then spring or summer came and I wanted to make another one. And I tried to make it again and it tasted awful. And so I was messing around with it the other night and I figured it out. So here it is. Write this down. Or go to the show notes. 2 ounces white rum, 1 ounce fresh lime juice, 3/4 of an ounce of blue curacao, half an ounce of amaretto. And I think this drink needs some bitters because I mean you might find it's fine without the bitters. I don't like my drinks super duper sweet, and there's a bunch of sweet liqueurs in here. So a little bit of bitters thins that out a little bit. And I use Angostura the first time around, and the dark red color of the Angostura really, really deepens the blue color because you've got the amaretto, which is kind of an amber color, and you've got the blue curacao. It makes a really, really cool color. It's kind of like a turquoise. But my most recent version, I have a bottle of Fee Brothers chocolate bitters, which is really affordable and easy to find. And let me tell you, that in a tiki drink, awesome. So pretty cool drink, and so give it a try.
Excellent. Yeah. And like you said, the recipes in the show notes. So with that, we'll head into the main topic: Eastern Bloc handguns.
Dad joke.
Ha 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 ha. So yeah, I was actually texting Weird and said, what should we do for a topic tonight? And I said, Easter guns. And then you said, how about Eastern Bloc handguns? And I was like, perfect. There we go. So it works.
And we're both dads, so we can make dad jokes with extreme prejudice.
So Eastern Bloc handguns get kind of a bad rap sometimes.
Not for me, they don't.
Sometimes deservedly. P64, CZ52. But, well, actually, not CZ52. The P64.
CZ52 is a lousy handgun.
It's not as bad as the 64.
I would say the 64 is one of those, like, I made a trauma film joke. Like, I love trauma films. Have you watched any trauma films?
No.
Like The Toxic Avenger, Trauma High, Poultrygeist, Night of the Chicken Dead. That's really good. They're films that were just made on a shoestring budget. Now they're made intentionally on a shoestring budget, but originally it was
watching just Thanksgiving.
Yes, Thanksgiving. That's also trauma. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So they do such a shoddy job. This also could be said about like Ed Wood's films. I love Ed Wood's films.
I wish I could rip off a few of my Thanksgiving quotes, but I won't because this is a family program.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one, but I can only imagine. But yeah, the trauma films, they're so bad, they're good. The Radom P64 is so bad, it's good. The CZ52 is almost a good gun, but it's not.
It's the CZ52 is a lot of good ideas that probably shouldn't have been put together.
It is. Its relationship in my safe is kind of how I think it should be. I keep it just to pull it out of the safe, show people, and take it apart and show them how it works. Because it's a weird cartridge. Because it's that a bottleneck pistol cartridge is just kind of weird to people.
How dare you call that cartridge weird?
What, the 7.62 by 25? It's honestly speaking, it's not.
The cartridge is beautiful.
And it was like the bench standard in like the turn of the century, because that cartridge is essentially the, what is that, the 7.62 Borchardt,
So
and
it's
then
the 30, the is it 30 Luger or not 30 Luger, 30 Mauser.
third, it was essentially that cartridge just kept being uploaded.
It's like the 38 ACP and the 38 Super type of deal.
Yes, yep. But so it started out as the Borchardt pistol round. I forget the exact designation of it, but the Borchardt, and then Mauser, when they made the broom handle, they made the 30 Mauser. They essentially just loaded that a little bit stouter, and then the Czechs got a hold of it and they loaded it up really stout. It is a stout round with the Czech loadings on it. But yes, you can absolutely take some like some Czech surplus or Russian surplus 7.62 by 25 and put it into a Borchardt pistol and blow it up, because that's a great idea.
The same thing, yeah. Same thing with like the 38 Super and the 38 ACP. They were they were interchangeable as far as I'm aware, and
They're 100%. They're 100% interchangeable, except for one of them will kill your gun dead, and the other one
yeah.
will make the gun jam.
So, talking about the most powerful round, we'll talk about the least probably powerful round.
Yes.
The Nagant revolver. Now, I
Oh.
remember, I mean, as much as the gun gets a bad rap, I remember seeing in like CDNN was always selling them back when I was younger.
They were practically giving them away. Like I remember
$80.
I remember like J&G sales had like one of those, like if you spend like $500, like I remember somebody bought like an SKS and something else on their CNR, and they threw a Nagant revolver in.
So at Bud's Gun Shop right now, you can buy a what they call a Soviet Nagant M1895 revolver with accessories. For where is the price? Where is it, Bud?
Oh, you're gonna make me regret not buying one when they were trying to give them away.
$111.
Okay, never mind. But like I think at one point though, I think like they literally had it as like an Amazon add-on type thing of the, if you spent a little bit of money and we're getting something shipped to you anyway, like you could get one for $25.
You mean like a Harbor Freight coupon that you get in the magazine when it comes to your house, just like buy this and get a free gift.
I remember getting an email and they just were sending it out to all the FFL holders of like the pretty much like I could buy like a Mosin Nagant 9130 and like some ammo, and they'd throw in a Nagant revolver for $25. But yeah, they've got Radom P64 level of trigger pull awfulness.
Yeah, well, at least they have the excuse of having to cam the cylinder forward,
which is gigantic. Like, let's also be honest, like the round is very, very underpowered. But you got 7 of them. That's nice. And like it's almost as big as a Smith & Wesson end frame.
Let's see the ballistics on the Nagant round. A 97 grain bullet at 1,070 feet per second for muzzle energy of 250 foot-pounds.
I read somewhere, and I haven't backed this up, but I've heard someone say that there was like 110 grain loading that was a lot stouter than the commercial stuff that we find these days. Like I've heard people say that like a Nagant revolver back in the, in the 19th century was actually stouter than a Nagant revolver at the gun range today.
I mean, that's not that it's like a super powerful round, but the Fiocchi loading that you can buy online is 98 grains at 1,082 feet per second. I mean, it's not like a Webley round where it's like going 600 feet per second.
It's walking.
Yeah, you can catch it.
But yeah, no, it's not a stout round, but it's really not. It's not a cream puff. It's not like some of the.
It's like a 32 auto.
Yeah, it's not like some of like those. Did the French have it? There was one
The 30 French long or something, or
Yeah,
32 French long.
what's that British gentleman that does videos for the firearms blog? He was talking about like some insanely underpowered thing. Ian also talked about it, and I think it was a French revolver that like it was like it's like an 80 grain bullet going at like 10 feet per second.
32 auto is 73 grains at 1,000 feet per second. So the Nagant round's at least equivalent to a 32 auto.
And you can get replacement cylinders for the Nagant that'll take 32.
What was the French revolver? Oh, okay. We have.
Oh, and just so you know, for those who are tuning in who have been longtime listeners, Russian 7.62, whether that be the 7.62 by 25 because of that long lineage, that 7.62 is 308. But the 7.62 Nagant, the 7.62 by 39, 7.62 by 54R, that's all 311, which is essentially 32 ACP diameter.
So the 7.65 by 20 millimeter long French pistol cartridge, which was used in the model 1935 pistol as well as the MAS 38 submachine gun, is a 77 grain bullet at 1,132 feet per second for 240 foot-pounds. So that's roughly equivalent, maybe less.
That's a powder puff
than the Nagant.
Yep.
But so it's not a terrible round, but the gun's not fantastic either.
No. But I mean, and also one thing interesting to think about is I remember hearing somebody talk about this was back when I was still on LiveJournal. Somebody I was friends with back then.
LiveJournal, what are you, 16?
Back then,
my God, weird.
I was like 24. And you were 16.
That's probably true. But anyway.
No, you were 14. You're 10 years younger than me. Like I was probably when I was reading this, you were 14 years old. And I don't want to know what you were doing because I was 14 once too. But he was talking about like all of the, the little 25 pocket pistols and the 32s and all these like super duper small caliber guns from the like, late 19th, early 20th century. And he was pointing out the fact that, or even like because there was a ton of like 32 caliber revolvers and black powder revolvers and that sort of stuff. That since there weren't really antibiotics back then and all that, getting shot with a 25 wouldn't necessarily be a one-shot stop per our modern definition, but you're probably going to die from it because you could easily get an infection or the doctors might try to pull the bullet out and kill you doing that. There was a lot. Medicine was different back then that a gun, any hole whatsoever was just a bad idea. So the idea of someone pulling a 25, you might take it more seriously then than you would today. So there is something to be said about that.
So the TT-33 or the M57 Yugoslavian pistol, we'll just touch on this because we've really talked about the Tokarev quite a bit with the CZ52. These guns, I've shot both. I gotta say that I like the Yugo better.
I have shot neither.
I think the
I don't think I've even actually handled either one of them.
TT-33 feels to me like I'm holding a T-square.
They've got a very square grip.
The 57, I've held two. I've shot one of them. One of them had this funky grip on it that kind of made it feel like a P38.
Interesting.
Didn't that?
And now, which did they? Either one of them have the goofy add-on safety?
Both of them did.
Yep. Which was not standard with the gun. The gun had like no safeties and didn't have a grip safety either, did it?
No.
Essentially, the whole purpose of the gun was just carry it with the hammer on half cock. And
no, in the case of the TT-33, it had a ridiculously small hammer as well. So it's like it's not even like a 1911. It's like you're gonna drop that damn thing if you're trying to lower that on a loaded chamber.
So that was definitely just carry it empty and rack one into the chamber.
Well, a lot of the time back in the day, those flap holsters, I mean, they weren't doing the speed holstering and unholstering that we're doing nowadays. So like the idea was I'll have plenty of time to open the flap and pull my gun out and chamber around and then do my business and put it back.
Plus, let's be painfully obvious here. Of the, it's a Soviet pistol. The Soviets were
Badge of
not
rank.
their badge of rank, and they weren't shooting at the enemy. They were shooting at their own soldiers who weren't performing properly. If a soldier broke rank, that's what the TT-33 was for.
You've been watching Enemy at the Gates, haven't you?
I've so many times. You've seen my Mosin-Nagant safe. I have a Mosin-Nagant safe. And you've seen that. Of course I have Enemy at the Gates.
Yeah, I mean, I think I like the M57, and the M57 is more available on the surplus market. The TT-33s have kind of taken on a little bit more of a higher place of honor in that circle, I think. So the Radom P64, this is the one we love to hate on.
I love it. I love it to hate it. I shoot this gun like for a gun as bad, and I almost put it in quotes. But a gun as bad as this gun, like I shoot the bejesus out of mine because it's so much fun.
This gun makes me cry.
The trigger is just so bad. It's essentially a Walther PP, but it's got a heel magazine release. It's got like a 20-pound. Did you shoot mine?
I didn't shoot it. I tried the trigger, and it reminded me of a staple gun that was broken.
Yeah, it's literally got a 20-pound trigger. like you're like, and it's literally dragging a piano down a dirt road.
The single action wasn't terrible.
The single action is on mine. Now I've said there's a certain YouTuber that I've unsubscribed from because they referred to the single action trigger as good, and I just hit the unsubscribe button, and that was the end of it. Tim from the Military Arms channel also described the single action trigger on his as good. And I actually messaged him about it. He says, yeah, no, it's actually really good. So I was surprised because my single action trigger is light. It's like 4.5 pounds, but it is mushy. It's got some take up. It's awful. It is an awful single action trigger as well. And the first random P64 I ever shot, the one that I definitely said, I got to get one of these. Like, I think I might've bought one within like a week of that, was, the exact same way. Was the double action trigger was a gazillion pounds. The single action trigger was mushy, squishy, but went off way sooner than I thought. But they're still dirt cheap. They haven't gone up crazy in value just yet. And they're a 9x18, which is still a super duper cheap caliber. And I like 9x18. I think that round needs like a lot more love. Like I almost wish that like all the 380 makers would just bite the bullet and say, look, we're an international world. Let's make it 9x18. It's not a communist round anymore. Like there's American companies making this round.
Yeah, Hornady is making a critical defense load in 9x18.
Yeah, and let me tell you, that is like a great round. Like you got a Radom P64, you've got a CZ82, you've got a Makarov. Like, yeah, get that stuff. That is a perfectly acceptable carry gun.
25 rounds in the box. Grain weight of the bullet 95 grains. Muzzle velocity 1,000 feet per second. Muzzle energy 211 foot-pounds. Nickel-plated case with the Hornady FTX polymer tip bullet.
Mm-hmm.
Which, number two, if you reload and you happen to reload that round, that's a damn good case too.
Yeah, I like the nickel cases.
So yeah, and speaking of that, I mean, we should kind of wrap that in with the Makarov as well. The Makarov is the good gun.
Yeah. Well,
good compared to the P64.
I mean, I've never shot one of these either, but the one thing that bothers me is that the safety goes the wrong way.
I got to shoot one of the, what do they call it? Bakhail Makarovs, or
is that the double stack?
No, just the made by Baikal or something.
Oh, okay. They made a double stack. There aren't that many of them, but there are some double stack Makarovs out there. But yeah, they're essentially a weird like Walther PP clone, and they're a Walther PP clone, and but the safety goes the wrong way. So the safety is, if the safety's up, the gun is safe, and if the safety's down, so it's exact opposite. It would be on all the other guns we're going to talk about here, including the Radom P64. The gun is you push the safety down for fire. But back like in the 80s and early 90s, like this was like the affordable carry gun.
Well, and you think about it too. I mean, like we were talking about before, a lot of these guns were carried in flap holsters. Not back in the day, back when these were issued, or even, I mean, hell, back in the 80s, the whole thing of like, drawing from appendix carry as quick as you possibly can and firing your shots and controlled pairs and then going right back down in the holster. That wasn't the way that these were employed.
Well, again, with military guns, that's not how you do it anyway. I mean, military, you're going with a rifle, and if you're the guy with the pistol, that you're really just barking orders. You're not shooting people.
But like that's the other reason that you consistently see heel releases and little magazine pouches on the holsters with these guns a lot of the time, because the heel release was designed not because it's convenient, not because it's ergonomic, but because the idea was your magazine that you have is a valuable piece of equipment. Mm-hmm. So as you use the heel release, you're going to retain the magazine, as opposed to nowadays when we just, magazines are disposable. They're $9.95 for a Magpul Glock mag, and you're just going to punch the eject button and let it fall to the ground.
Yep.
It's just a different mindset.
Mm-hmm. Well, they were just worried about running out of magazines. So they wanted their soldiers to hold on to them, put it in your pocket, and then pull out a fresh one and put it in.
So yeah, the Makarov, I mean, I've shot them. There's basic, I guess. I mean, not really remarkable in any sort of way.
There's a gazillion of them because they were made by many of the Eastern Bloc countries.
So I want to talk about the one that you didn't know anything about, the Croatian PHP.
I know nothing about this gun. So talk about this, because let me tell you, I'm just having fun looking at it. Like, it is a visually interesting, not visually pleasing, but a visually interesting pistol.
I mean, I can't say that I know that much about it. It was produced from 1990 to 1994 in Croatia. It was apparently in the Croatian War of Independence.
It is not currently being imported by Springfield Armory.
Yeah, it was 9mm Luger. Let's see. The pistol represents a mix between the Beretta 92 and Walther P38 pistols, and takes several design influences that are in both handguns: a decocker safety, a double single action trigger, open top slide, and vertically tilting locking block. The overall appearance of the...
First up, the Beretta 92 and the Walther P38 are the same gun as far as I'm concerned. They're just evolutions of the same design.
Right. The overall appearance, though, you look at the front of it and it looks like a P38 barrel that has like a support underneath it.
It looks like a Walther P5. It looks like a really, really ugly, weird Walther.
Without the top of the slide on the end.
Without the top of the slide on the end, and with a safety like tucked in the what appears to be the absolute worst place I could ever imagine for a safety. Can you imagine flicking that safety off? Like, look at it. The picture I'm looking at. Oh, there's another one. I got another one where the safety's on. Yeah, the safety just gets kind of buried into the grip when it's on, and when it's off, it's just kind of floating just below the slide. Like, it's the exact opposite of how you want a safety. Like, I talk about the like the Smith & Wesson Bodyguard, the Smith & Wesson Shield, the Ruger, the whole like Ruger family, all the Ruger double action pistols that have safeties. The safeties on those are unnecessary as far as I'm concerned, but if you're going to have a safety, that's the way to have them, is that they're very, very difficult to put on, but super duper easy to swipe off. You just swipe them, they come off, but you kind of got to get your finger underneath them to flick them back into the on position. That's awesome. That's a good design as far as putting something that's really not necessary onto a gun. But Maybe there's a market for it. It's not for me, but maybe there's a market for it. This gun appears to be the exact opposite of the. It looks like it's very, very easy to flick this safety on, but very, very difficult to take it off, which is exactly what I don't want.
I'm fairly impressed with like this pistol in terms of I've seen it a lot for surplus out on the surplus market.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen quite a few ads recently, but like I don't know if just no one's buying them or something, but they do look a little bit off the wall.
I got a CNR. I'd totally buy one tomorrow. I get a CNR and I got a couple boxes of 9mm left.
Well, that's the thing. It's 9mm. I mean, that's the best part. You don't have. I mean, not that the other cartridges are totally weird, but it's 9mm Parabellum. You don't have to buy anything special.
And I just want to look at it. Like, it is so funny looking.
If
like
you text me this week and say you bought one, I will be so happy.
Well, then I'm not going to do it because I don't want to make you happy. I want you miserable. Oh, it's got the little hook on the front of the trigger guard too. I just noticed that. Oh, the 90s have called, and there's your trigger guard. Oh man.
Now you really need one.
When I first started shooting, I actually first started shooting with my finger in front of the trigger guard. I don't know why I decided to do that. And then I took my finger off the front of the trigger guard and realized, oh, that's not a good idea. Oh, so and I also shot a 22 revolver with my finger on the trigger guard like that, and that learned to me real quick.
So the CZ82, I just wanted to touch on this one. There's a whole bunch of CZ guns that we have not touched on. Mm-hmm. Like this was one of the more popular ones, but like there's the CZ70 and every other number. And those ones will have to get somebody like maybe Othias or come on, and we can talk about all the different CZ.
Oh, we need to have Othias on. I love Othias.
I've had him on the show a couple times.
Well, not with me.
Well, not with you. We were too busy talking about stuff.
Yeah.
We had a history of Beretta episode with him. Actually, we went from beginning of Beretta pistols.
You went from the 14th century.
No.
Or what is it? It was like.
No, I'm sure 1630 or something.
No, it was the 50. I think it was the 1500s. You're looking it up.
But yeah, the CZ82. Talk about that while I look this up.
The CZ82 is they're still cheap on the surplus market, and they are by far like the best bang for your buck. Like, all right, I love my Radom P64 and I shoot it more than my CZ82, but the CZ82 is a beautiful gun. It is essentially, it's in that Makarov lineage in the fact that it's a Walther PP clone ish, comes apart just like a PP clone, but the Czechs made it. So the Czechs do everything different. And so it's got, instead of the slide mounted safety, which I hate, it's got a frame mounted safety, and the frame mounted safety behaves very similar to that of the CZ75 in that up, it blocks the hammer and it kills the trigger. But because it blocks the hammer, with the hammer's down, you can't pull it. So, but it's double action, single action, no decocker. You got to manually lower it, and it holds 12 plus 1 of 9x18. So it's really formidable as far as the amount of ammo it's got in it. It's compact. It's all steel, so it's not super duper light, but it's not overly heavy. You can absolutely conceal carry this, no problem.
Our friend TJ, in fact, does.
In an ankle holster?
No, not with his sandals and an ankle holster.
I love you, TJ.
He actually has a alien gear holster, I think.
Oh, cool. Yeah, it is a really, really nice gun. It's got a great trigger pull, both double action and single action. Like they're nice, good sights. It's a nice gun.
Beretta, founded in 1526. 492 years ago.
Oh, who's right?
They've supplied weapons for every major European war since 1650.
That's impressive.
Oh, man. Yeah, that's crazy. The CZ82 actually, I was trying TJ's out and he got some aftermarket grips for it, and it looked good and it felt great.
Yeah, I just got the stock ones on it because I I mean, I'm a collector of Eastern Bloc guns, so I wanted to look the same way, it looked when Ivan was carrying it. And yeah, I love it. It is a really, really elegant gun for what it is.
So we got the last two here. We'll start with the FEG guns. These are from Hungary. And we have the PA63, which is a Walther PP clone, and then the P9R, which is one that I had, and that was a Browning high power slash Smith and Wesson 59 amalgamation of parts.
Yeah, so the PA63, it's a Walther PP. Like I don't know if the parts are interchangeable, but
In 9x18 Mac.
in 9x18 Makarov. So it's essentially a Walther PP. But let's talk about the P9R because I don't know as much about this gun.
P9R was basically if you like held the front end of the slide so you couldn't see the scalloping away like you see on a Browning high power of the front of the slide, you would think that it was a Smith & Wesson 59. Had the Smith & Wesson exactly same design style safety on the upper part. With a hammer block, though, so I'm not sure if that's the same exact thing that Smith had on theirs. Double stack magazine, but the front end had the cuts on the front end of the slide to make it look like a high power. Double action, single action. I mean, it was a great shooting pistol.
What happened to it?
I just ended up getting rid of it for something else.
Do you remember?
I don't remember.
Oh man, so sad.
But I mean, I kind of wanted my, and then I kicked myself because later on at the same gun show that I sold it at, my friend who had a table at the gun show actually ended up buying one of the FEG true high power copies that was single action, and it was a really nice gun.
Well, I mean, they were so much copying the high power that like sometimes they were copying like the Belgian roll marks and everything. So that like there are FEG guns out there that look exactly like a Browning high power.
Did you look this one up and see the pictures?
Oh, the P9R?
Yeah.
I've seen it before. I haven't looked at it today.
It's weird. I mean, it looks the trigger guard's the same as a Smith, I think. The whole back end is pretty much Smith & Wesson. I wish I still had mine because I'd love to be able to find a Smith & Wesson like first gen mag and see if it would work.
Oh wow, they've actually got some I'm at Modern Firearms and they've got the modern one has actually got the hook on the front of the trigger guard too. And
Yeah.
and finger grooves. Oh man. That is such a 90s gun. Yeah, absolutely. Like, yeah, Smith and Wesson safety on it, including like the opposite side where you just got the big round plate on the side of the gun.
Yeah.
Big external extractor. Yeah, that is a strange little gun.
So before we wrap up here, we cannot not talk about this last one, Weird. The CZ75.
Yeah, like let's not forget this because right now you can walk into any gun shop in America and buy yourself something that is either a CZ75 or in its direct lineage, or a copy of the CZ75. Like it is like the ultimate in capitalist gun. Like, and then on top of that, you can buy, the CZ75 helped make, the the P10 now? What's the Glockity?
Oh, the CZP10, yeah.
Yeah, the CZP10, which is not at all a CZ75, which I think is a major detriment against it. I love the 75 like family. But yeah, the CZ75 started off as an Eastern Bloc gun. It was one of those like weird, like, guns from the far, from Eastern Europe that was being, imported into the United States, the pre-B guns. And yeah, so it got its start out too as an Eastern Bloc gun, and boy, they're nice.
It's one of the original Wonder Nines.
It is one of the original Wonder Nines. And
Made from in service from 1976 to present. 1 million were made as of October 12th, 2007.
wow.
Let's see here. I mean, it has so many different variants too. I mean, like we said, we really need to do a CZ episode.
We could do like just a CZ75. Just
we could do a friggin' series on CZ.
Yeah, just the CZ75 and the guns that are based directly on the CZ75.
Let's see. All right. They have a list on Wikipedia of all the variants. CZ75, CZ75B, CZ75BD, 75BD Police, 75B Stainless, 75B Omega, 85, 85BD, and all the various ones, the 97, the 75 PCR Compact, the 75 BDAO, the PO1, the PO9 Duty, and 10 million other ones that I'm not going to list off.
And let's not forget the what is it, the 93? What's the 45 one? Why don't I have one? I want one so bad.
Probably because you can't get it in your commie state.
I can get it. I had a friend that moved into the state and she didn't buy one before she came in. Wanted it so bad.
But yeah, there's so many different variants, and it really is an awesome pistol.
Yep.
I'd love to see one of the machine pistol versions.
Oh yeah.
I think Larry Vickers has a video of him shooting them.
Yep, I've seen that one.
Yeah.
Can we talk some machine pistols?
We can talk about one machine pistol.
Can we talk about two machine pistols?
You and your Scorpion obsession. Okay.
I love the VZ61 Scorpion. I want one so bad.
We can talk about a couple. We were talking before the show, actually, and there's a picture in the show notes. I may use that picture as the show notes title, but there's a
really cool picture. It actually looks like a buddy of mine.
Not Waldo.
No.
This is a Radom P6 no, not Radom. Jeez, a Rack.
No, it's a Radom.
No, it's Rack. RAK.
Yeah, but it's made by Radom.
Is it Radom?
It's Radom.
What's the PM63 machine pistol?
Yes. Oh my goodness.
And we were watching videos of this. It's just so weird.
It's weird, but it works. So it is a direct blowback 9x18. It has got a gigantic slide. Like the slide is like 1.5 miles long. It's got a weird little like. It's got a weird little like. It looks like it's an over and under or an underfolder stock, but the stock is actually slides in, so it's kind of like the H&K series stocks. You know, whether it be the MP5 or the G3 with the collapsible stock, but the stock rides up on rails alongside the gun. But as you put it out, it's got a big old like spoon bill on the front of the gun, and that is designed so that you can just mash that against a surface, and it'll bring the slide back. And it is an open bolt pistol.
Submachine gun.
It's a
machine pistol.
Yeah. But instead of it having like a big telescoping bolt, like an Uzi or anything else that we're considered with an open bolt submachine gun, it's got an actual pistol slide, and a gigantic one at that.
Current users: Cuba, mainly used by Cuban police and some territorial troops militia units. Used in Iraq, North Korea, Palestine, Poland, Syria, and Vietnam as well. Currently. I mean, I guess you can't blame them. I mean, it's one of those like, I mean, I think that the VZ61 is still being used by people. If it isn't, I don't see why not, because the design for the VZ61 was that it is literally like a pistol. It's the size of a pistol. It's a big pistol, but it's the size of a pistol. Right.
You can carry it on your hip. You could wear it in a shoulder holster if you wanted to. and it was designed for vehicle crews and all that, that if they needed to, to get their butt out of the vehicle or were under siege, they had a little bit more firepower than a standard pistol, but not a carbine or a rifle that would be a little bit too much of a pain in the butt for them to lug around all the time.
And Ian showed that in the video he did on the VZ61 just recently, like
yeah, he was literally surprised because he was expecting, oh, I'm going to shoot it one-handed, and he went, actually you could shoot it like that. So the design is like, it's really kind of an underutilized design, but it works out really, really well. If you need something that is an honest to goodness submachine gun, but you want it to be teeny, 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 tiny and not something insane like a micro Uzi.
Yeah. Yeah. That's super. I mean, in micro Uzis and 9mm, this is again in 32 auto.
Micro Uzi, Glock 18, the CZ75 submachine gun that I don't even know if there's a name for it, because they're all bad ideas. They didn't work. But these guns in blowback pistol calibers, they worked a lot better. They were a lot more controllable. There's a reason why the VZ61 is in 32 ACP, and there's a point to it.
Yeah, I mean, I really, really enjoy. I really want to get to shoot some machine pistols at some point.
Yeah, I've actually never shot an honest to goodness machine pistol. I've shot a lot of submachine guns, shot a lot of machine guns, shot a lot of pistols, never shot a machine pistol.
Excellent. So with that, we'll head into the wrap-up section and close out the show. Don't forget to shop Brownells using our affiliate link. Head to firearmsradio.tv and click the affiliate link in the upper right-hand corner. Be sure to go like Handgun Radio on Facebook and share it with your friends, and leave us a review on iTunes. And listen to all the great shows on the Firearms Radio Network. Be sure to check out the Firearms Radio Network on YouTube. Weird, where can people find you, and where can people find your new podcast?
So you can find me at my blog, which is weirdworld.com, and the Assorted Calibers podcast. I'll be linking to that off of weirdworld.com as well. We have a Facebook group, be sure to join in on that. If you happen to be listening to the Gun Blog Variety Cast that I once was on and is now canceled, if you are subscribed to that or want to resubscribe to that, that's the Libsyn account that I own, is that Libsyn account. So if you subscribe to that one, when we publish the first podcast, it will go right to your podcast device. And at this moment, I don't know how, but I will make it available on all of the podcasting availabilities for that. And we have a website, which is assortedcalibers.com.
Excellent. So be sure to go check that out. There will be links in the show notes. So as always, Weird, thank you for coming on.
Oh, it's great to be on.
And until next week, have fun and safe shooting.